Hey, it's the Cheap Bunny with board games and RPGs. Getting my stuff together. We will be using Knave 2E, Ben Milton's book. You can see I've got it all tagged up so I know where to go. We are also using the Mythic emulator. This is the fate chart and the little sheet that gives you prompts, along with Une, but only the conversational moods and things if we end up having a conversation with somebody. You will also see Never Fear's comment is highlighted here in green. He's been a member for 16 months. Way to go, Never Fear. Thank you. He's always very good about coming in early and less than 30 minutes, giving me a countdown and letting me know when my sound is good, bad, or indifferent. Not indifferent. He'll let me know if I'm buffering or anything of that nature. So let me see if I can pull that off. Oh, that's back on. Oh, look who else is in. 16 months, he says, Ref Tom Green, boom. And we are live. Well, those are like triple booms. The other thing I will be doing is I'm going to share screen here a little bit. Let me see if I can pull it up. I've got several set up. Let me go through the click. My favorite of all time, of course, is the Cougar. We're going to share the Cougar. Boom. I love that Cougar. This is the Cougar that did so much damage to my character Milo. Got reanimated. Works for the Ranger now. Man, I love that Cougar. But because where we left off, I want to go back in. Oh, come now. Because what I have to do is share the screen again. Go back in here. But I want to bring up Lovemont the ghost. So he looks terrifying. Right there, he's inside the Diamond of Zanuptra. And to recap where we were, and I don't have it loaded, but I have this beautiful, the thumbnail is the priest, a little bit older than I thought, but that's fine. Dispelling or compelling the leaving or returning to the Diamond of Zanuptra after our little tavern incident where apparently Lovemont's a little bit of a poltergeist. He likes to just pop out in the middle of taverns and cause all kinds of fear and trouble. I like my coffee dark. So this is a 20 dice system or die system. We have a whole cast of characters that are wild and bizarre. And what we learned at the last, and yes, this is Hey Tom Green. What we learned at the last is that the priest was brave and a man of the people. And we were calling him, or I was calling him Padre Percival, because the imp came up because he'd had an incident with angels and was like, hey, we don't want any problem, Padre. Oh, but we fled and he assisted it with a beam of light, compelling, which actually kind of freaks Lovemont out because it hits him and forces him back into the diamond. We also learned that his ability to stay outside of the Diamond of Zanuptra is based on proximity to said diamond. So we learned a lot of cool information. We also had Assassin Foxmark. She was really cool. She's going to go out and get us info on Eofast, who is in, oh my gosh, Ridge. How am I forgetting? I had all my notes going here, and I didn't think I even needed it. The main setting of our phase of our first episodes in Maze Rats. It'll come to me as soon as I'm not talking. And that assassin's going to go forth and find this information. She will probably circle back. Windridge. Thank you. See, that's why 16 months, baby. Windridge, the capital city. Think of it as kind of like the UN of seashore cities. Ooh, don't say that one too fast. By the seaside. How did you forget? Well, I was talking so much. Your brain gets rolling, and all of a sudden I couldn't shift gears, baby. I couldn't shift gears. I needed a little bit of boom. Look at that guy. Just looks terrifying, but he's inside the diamond there. So I do picture him. Obviously, the diamond is changing his view a little bit, but he's bald. He's more grayish like that, a grayish blue. Looks like he's only wearing some kind of loincloth maybe because he's shirtless. The world needs a name. Oh, okay. Well, we'll think about that. So we will think on that note, but let's get started. So as we were leaving off in sort of a cliffhanger, I wanted to do one final check to see if we ran into any problems as we were leaving this tavern. And we did. Lovemont got compelled back into the diamond. The diamond sits around the neck of a golem. I will continue to accidentally say gnome. I don't know if it's because the golem is only 1 foot tall or if it is just because we've got golem and gnome and they've got a G in there. I don't know. But if I say, if I say the wrong thing, I'm trying to share what the Petricula looks like. I'm going to pull that up. I have him at least here. Now you got to remember, he's only 1 foot tall. So he's this granite, rough granite, happy little golem. And around his neck sits a diamond or like a leather strap, or maybe it's a metal chain. And on it is the diamond of Zanuptra. And it's sitting right about here probably. And in sits the ghost, Lovemont. So let's come back to here. All right. We know we're fleeing. Never fear. You're running Ormond. Anything you want to do or say as we are fleeing this inn? We're clearly on the run now from Padre Percival. We are getting our way out of there, although the imp threw him. The imp stood and said, "Don't hurt the Padre. Don't hurt the Padre." The angel said no, and so old Padre's got to be like the angels. I put my coffee down because Never Fear says, just run. Perfect. So what we'll open up with, using the system of what is the next scene, our chaos factor was 5. I feel like with the ghost coming back and Padre Percival, I'm going to move our chaos factor to 6 just because that was wild. And that means on this chart, the odds of yeses are more likely. So what do we got here? The imp should roll to see if he resists its nature. We will as he runs into issues. Right now, I agree they're just running. That's not a problem. Keep me honest on that going. He's got an angel and a demon basically on his shoulder. But he definitely leans toward doing good because the angel said they're always watching. So he's trying to do his best. But we're just going to do a scene check. So in Mythic, as you move from one scene to another, we're fleeing. I want to see, is anything alter or interrupt this flee? If we get a 6 or less, there will be. 10. All right, nothing. So we're able to make good our escape. What Mythic allows you to do is just say, nope, you're not making good. Something else happens on this scene. So we flee into the woods. A whiz check each time. Okay, we'll look at it. I can't remember. I don't think his wisdom is good at all. I think his wisdom's like 0. But either way, we'll work something out. We'll figure it. They said they're watching. Doesn't mean it's able to just do it. It is literally a hell spot. Yeah, I know. But we also, supposedly, he broke out of hell. Go see past episodes. In order to better his situation. We'll see. But I love it. That's why I like this group, is they're all torn in these different directions we can explore. Grave Worm, which I have a picture of. What the heck? We're going to show that too, since we're kind of doing a catch-up. What is this little thing here? I wish there's probably a better way for me to do this. Why are you doing that? Don't do that. I need to go in and do this, and then I got to do this again. And now we can see Grave Worm. What we do know is Grave Worm looks like a little wild child. He looks happy, but he's also a shapeshifter. Now, our players don't know that, but Grave Worm does, and he's way more like a scout. So what I want to do is explore these characters. But let's come back. Let's come back to running. And we're fleeing. We know this was a small town or village. And so as we come into this area, we would have the ranger with us. I'll do one last screen share because I'm going to leave the ranger up And the ranger is up and working with us, along with the cougar who's responsive to him. And we have no incidences. We flee through this area. Logically, hold on, we've got some more stuff here. Who's chasing us right now? The priest. And, well, the priest compelled us away. I think we can imagine that maybe that's enough for us to flee. The power of God, remove you. Batre. Yes, Batre the ranger. Very nice. Batre. Very good with even the spelling. So I can see us fleeing that power. It doesn't mean that the priest has to be in hot pursuit. We know he had one constable and himself. That doesn't seem like you would leave your little village unprotected. Yeah, we're running. So do we know the general direction of Windridge? We know it's far away, but sure. Not to get dialed down into the weeds, we're fleeing. We know that we were able to get out of this general town. So what I want is, how about a random event? I was just rewatching Me, Myself, and Die. Trevor Duvall put out like a 13-hour straight video, and he does it solo on his season 1. It's masterful. I don't think I'll watch the full 13 hours, but it's like a master cut. But I like how he would just use a random event sometimes to spark things up, because you can grab and pull from anywhere. So first thing is, what is the event focus? We have a table for that, and never fear, I want you to go ahead and roll percentile dice. It's going to say, is it a remote event? This kind of dials us in. You can almost skip this focus table because it's us. Matter of fact, let's do that. I don't want it pulling in like a random event, but I will go over to the back to see what's the random event on this back side that we're going to pull in here, unless Never Fear takes offense. Never Fear sometimes likes to go down to, which is good because I'm all over the place. All right, I'm all over the place. So Never Fear, do you want to roll on the random event table? I know you're going to say yes, and we're going to use your 50. I'm just going to channel Never Fear. He's like, of course, that's what you said. And I got a 50, and a 50 means move away from a thread. So when you get it, move away from a thread. A very cool thing with Mythic that ties in is you get these like sheets. They're like setting sheets, and you can imagine it as like scenes in a movie. So you've got a scene set up, and it can roll you through, but you've got a list of characters over here, and then you've got a list of threads down here. Now we've worked through several threads because that's what we're asking about here. We only have 2, which is Lovemont Reinhold's Warrior Journal. Okay, that's a book that Ormond has, I think. And then, the other thing we have left is there was a book we recovered, the Matriarch Fashion book, and some yarn that these weird dudes in the woods, way more closer to, now I'm forgetting the name of that, it was like Oceanside Village or whatever. But you know what that tells me? Well, I think we're going to run into those guys, but we got to figure it out because it's a 50-50. I moved my die. So we're going to go, if it's even, it's going to be something to do with these like highwaymen in this book that we found. But that tells me we're moving away from the thread. Okay, it could be the War Journal. Even will be highwaymen. Odd will be what's left of the journal here. 8 even. And so we're going to be moving away from that thread. A personal thread for Ormond is to become a lich. Milo has his own goal. Yeah, I know. But under the threads in our sheet is what this directs us to, is move away from a thread. Well, the thread we got was that basically we recovered a book from these highwaymen. Here's what I like on this. These like women were killed, and we recovered the book after we killed these robbers. Basically, we took them out, but there was blood on the book, and we were suspicious. What this tells me is, as we were making our escape, we dropped this book. Whoever was holding it, I think it was Milo, I dropped it. Well, this is going to make us look like we're the killers. Now we've dropped evidence that we recovered from murderers, and we've dropped it as we flee into the woods. And Father Percival, Padre Percival, is going to use this to tell the higher priestly religious class that we are murderers. Bam. Now we're moving away from a thread. So, but I like where that takes us. We're no longer, as we move away from that thread, it's no longer our thread. I'm going to get rid of it. We dropped the book. We lost the book. But the book now makes us look guilty. We're going to have to defend against that in the future. We now look like the problem. So we've created an issue for ourselves by Milo, had to be Milo, dropping that book as we leave. Include personal goals as threads too. Maybe. I don't know. I like following just the simple rules on that. What are the threads of the stories that are going on? I do hear you. I could write those in. And because you've been here for 16 months, I will do that in between shows. I'm going to add in our personal threads. Love it. That works. See, if you're around for 16 months and as involved as Never Fear is, you get to dictate a few things. Bam. Look at that. He made me do it. All right. What I like about this, let me make a little note here. We dropped that book. And Father, or I'm going to stick with Padre Percival because it rolls better, picks it up, and he's now suspicious that we, our group, I'm making a note, killed these fabric women. Fabric women? And so we are going to have, what this means is we will have problems with any kind of priest or connection. Word is spread. And we're already looking pretty darn evil, even though we're trying not to. So that fits. Now I saw some comments going wild here. So first of all, yeah, you can add thread where we are pursued, not our goal, but a goal for the NPCs. Perfect. That's what will be added. A thread of pursuit. And I like how we were moving away from the thread that we had, but it's created this new thread that has us in trouble. Me, Myself, and Die uses this as well. Yes, it does. That is where I learned to use it. Trevor from Me, Myself, and Die uses the Mythic Emulator, and I was able to see how he did it, and that's how I started to use it, and it works well. I use it in my in-person groups as well. A little more sparingly, but yes. We are now wanted folks. Yes, and we're quite an interesting group. Which order does he belong to? I don't know. We'll have to figure it out. But we know there was like priests and monks, and he's from a small town. So we can dial that in later. I do think this is going to elevate Percival. Not only was he seen using the power of God to dispel the ghost, this was witnessed by the constable, but he then finds evidence of our evil doing. Not to mention, doesn't matter what the imp said, he saw a demonic character, and he's in the heat of battle. So who knows how he took that? We could run into trouble if we run into the member of the order. Well, yeah, I guarantee as we run into, anybody on a religious front, our dirty deeds, which aren't true, are going to precede us. So I like it. We've moved through. I think a day has passed. We've run. This is in the middle of the night. We're all worn out. No spells or refreshed or anything of that nature. And we are ahead of the bad news currently. That's one thing you got to know is, there might be, a scroll that gets written on, and maybe a rider takes it straight to Windridge just to report to the seat of power. But it wouldn't be like it is today that every little town knows what we're up to. So I want us to roll into another town. Looking at the book, so Ben Milton includes in Knave 2E tons of 100 or percentile tables. And looking at it, I've got to see there's the town inns. but we also have some other things with cities here. So I want to see if we come back, we have city themes, city events, and then we have street details. I want to put that basically there's a little bit of a bigger city that we would be aware of. This also gives us direction. We're fleeing to this next bigger town. What do we have here? Asking Batray as Ormond. All right, so Ormond is asking the ranger pictured on the screen, how far is the nearest town? We don't have to go back to that town. We're not welcome there, clearly, obviously. Yeah, Batray says, I know of there's a feeder city, a city further ahead. We're making towards it now. And what do we have here? We need to find faster travel to Windridge. We can maybe hire a wagon to Windridge. You know, I talked earlier that Windridge is a coastal city and that I believed we were in a distant, maybe even unlandlocked place to it. Now, I know you have a map and you're working on it. So what we will do, this city, we will, find out, is this a place where we could catch a boat and then maybe go straight to Windridge? Or is this some kind of land travel? We'll find that out within this town. But let's learn about this city. So let's see. We've got city themes. And you know what? For a name, they've got these names, and a lot of names, unlike Windridge. I want to go with like a surname. This is going to be some lord or whatever that had this area before. So, yep, city name first. Exactly. I want to know, obviously, Batray would know the lay of the land. So again, never fear. Or, hold on, let me see if we have Ref. If Ref is still in here, I'm assuming you are, Ref Tom Green. You could come up with a name for us. He's very good at naming. Or if you're not in here, we're going to roll on it. I will give you about 10 seconds while I take a little sip here for you to type something out. Ref, if you're in the building. I know you were here earlier. You might still be. Oh, he's in, baby. He's in. So shoot me a name of this city that we're headed to. I want to keep you involved. One thing I try to do with the channel is any viewers can chime in with ideas. A lot of Mythic uses a logical system, but if somebody even has a great idea, boom, that's how Never Fear ended up even running a character way back when I was doing Maze Rats. So Ref is going to throw me a name for a city. We won't generate it randomly, although we could have with Ben Milton's book. Ooh, Chartoon. All right, Chartoon. Perfect. All right. So Batray says I've got us headed in the direction of Chartoon. Now we're going to go with the city theme. This Never Fear, I want you to roll a percentile, 1 to 100. It's going to give us what the theme of Chartoon is. So we're going to flesh this city out a little bit that we're headed to. See what it tells us. Too much coffee. I'm going to have to do a little bit of, I've got a little Japanese whiskey down here. We may do a little Nika in a little bit from a coffee still. All right. 60 even under a city theme and, military. Uh-oh. All right. So we know this is a military type city. That tells me it holds like a battalion. And it's the big city before it makes sense. It's the big city before you start to run into these smaller villages all the way from where we've come, which is the wilds. So this is a military city that holds a battalion. Let me make notes. Holds a battalion of troops, like military troops. What's come in here? A border city. Sure. Yeah. I mean, it's, you're layering out. So border is in, it's near like wildlands. I want to know, is there a city event? Or this could be something that's just happened, or there's a trend. So Never Fear, roll again. This is going to give us a city event that is going on. What does Tom Green say? With lots of brothels on the outskirts. Yeah, probably even inside. So military cities will carry with it smithies making weapons, brothels, tattoo places. It's going to be just this kind of grungy military place. So I like it. Let's see. What do we got here? 41. So this is an event that's happened. 41 is, it says hysteria. So what would cause hysteria? Hysteria in a military-themed city called Khartoum. Well, we got to think back even to season 1. You know, it could be the upheaval that happened at Windridge, that there had been a coup basically there. I'm not saying it has to be that. Let's see. What is Never Fear saying? A curse on the town. Well, that would be, people are like running around screaming if that's the case. Maybe not everybody. I think we're going to have to go. Let me see. Is there anything else to dial in? We're not even there to an in yet. Well, all right. Hysteria coming back. Rumor of a plague. Yeah, that probably would be what would cause hysteria, which would mean anybody coming in from the outside, unless the plague is in on the inside. Let's go with that. They're usually, if a city was hearing rumors of plague, they would like really lock things down and not let people in. So let's let the dice decide. 50-50. 50-50, I'm going to roll 50 or less. Yes, it's a plague, rumor of a plague. 44, it's also a double, which means a random event. So yes, there's rumor of a plague. All right, so we know what we're walking into. That means it's going to be really tough to get through. It's not like we're going to be able to hide the imp. And now we do have to do an event-focused table. Random event doesn't have to be with the plague, but it could be 43. 43 means move towards a threat. Okay. Well, we only have currently, because I haven't updated threads, we have the thread that Percival believes that we have murdered these little yarn ladies, we'll call them. The other thread is the war book. And I like this. I actually think, let me see what the comment is, event focus first. Well, that's what I just did. So maybe you typed that before. That's what I did with the event focus. But maybe logically, I think in a military, this has got to be, there's no way the word has traveled to the city. However, if this is a militaristic city, I think Reinhold Lovemont would be well known. We know that before he was unbodied, turned into a ghost, that he wrote even a tome. That's our other thread. The tome, he wrote this war manual, Sun Tzu kind of thing. And he wrote this book and he is known. So he might, I like it. Okay, I know what happened. That's it. As we're showing up towards the city, let's see what came in. He has a statue there. I'm with you. Boom, statue of Lovemont. Now, we don't know this. Lovemont's been put back into the Diamond of Zanupra. So what I believe, this is it. Statue, let me write it down, Lovemont. So as we come in, we're being told by folks on the exterior that, they've closed the city. They won't let anybody in. There's panic of plague. And like, oh my goodness, that would be horrible. There's plague fear. We come up to the front main gate. And what I picture is the gate is open, but it's got a heavy presence of guards. Because, of course, some people would be there. I think there's people being inspected. There's people paying bribes to get in, but it's tight. And right in behind there, on this elevated pedestal, sits this armor-clad, shield-holding, sword raised Lovemont before he was a ghost. And of course, I think Ormond is like, well, look at this. Does he pop out of the diamond? Not yet. I think the way he was forced back in, and I would imagine it takes some energy to come out, I think we might have to work on that a little bit because we're not getting through this gate currently, and I'm not sure a ghost gets us through. Even a ghost of Lovemont. We're going to have to play this smart. Ref, if you have any ideas even, I'm thinking Graveworm, who we don't know as a group, is a shapeshifter, but he's also a scout. I don't know, maybe he could sneak in. There's something here. I think the tome we got is an original manuscript. It is. Lovemont wrote it. That might be something we could show, but my God, they might just take it from you. You know what I'm saying? I mean, not that we couldn't fight him off, but I love this idea. I think we've got to go back. Let me put myself full screen. All right. This phalanx of guards, you can't just get in, but behind them, we see this towering statue that is clearly Lovemont before he was disembodied. And I think there's probably even a plaque there that we can read. It's huge, that says, Lovemont Reinhold, warrior chief, or some very cool phrase. And what do we have? Claim to have a cure for the plague. Ooh, okay. That's an option. So let's do options. And then we're going to game what we're going to do. So we're seeing this as a group. We have plenty of time to figure out, what are we going to do? How are we going to get in here? It's assuming we want to get in. Let's make one option is, do we even want to go in here? What if the plague's inside? It doesn't seem like it. It seems like they're trying to keep it out. So 1, do we want in? Do in. 2 was we could show the book. 3, I liked my idea of Graveworm scouting it out. What do we want in there? And then we had in there claim to have a cure. I like claim to have a cure. Claim cure. Now I saw a comment come up. Anybody else that's watching? We have multiple people in here. You can throw ideas in. You don't have to. You can just watch. For that to work, he must have recently passed away. Oh boy, I don't think recently. I think he's been imprisoned for some time, but we don't know that for sure either. We show the original manuscript as proof. It's an option. I do think it could be stolen away from us. So let's game this out. We could have him scout it and then decide how we proceed. We could. If we want more information, Graveworm steps up and says, hey, if we fall back a little bit, I think I could sneak in and kind of scout the area and maybe get a little more intel for us. And I think Milo would be like, how in the world do you think you could get past, 14 armed guards? And he said, I could do it. I could do it. And I think the imp is like, I could kill them. Which makes sense. I could just rip them to shreds, and I shouldn't do that. He's at war with himself. That's what I said. Laugh out loud. We could have him scout it out. Okay, good. All right. When you say him, we got a lot of hymns. So roll for it. Not yet. I want to figure this out. I think Milo and Lee, I'm leaning towards the scout. Don't just decide for the imp. I'm not. I just role played him having the devil and the angel on his shoulder. Roll with me, brother. Roll with me. You're killing me. I did all the voice acting and everything. Got it. He wants to kill them. He just said both things. So I role played that he's at war with himself. I can shred him. Like you want to go kill. There's no way we're letting him go shred 14 guards at the gate. Then we would really be hunted. That one's ruled out. I think Milo's like, are you crazy, Zitrix? You want to go to hell? You'll be back in hell in no time, Zitrix. He goes, wow, no, we should sneak in. All right, let's do it. I want to give it I like the very likely. It's an 85% chance that the group, put that back up, that the group agrees to let Graveworm scout it. But the dice will tell us 85 or less, 76. All right, Graveworm is going to scout. And because of that, we got to bring up the little kid. We got to bring him back up. Let me see if I can share him. We're going to come up here and whoop. Here we go. And ba-boom. There sits Graveworm. He says, let me scout it. All right. Now we don't know. Sorry. He knows, obviously. He's a shapeshifter. All right. What does he shapeshift into? Suggestions. We don't even know. We've never explored his shapeshifting ability. Can he shapeshift into a little rat? He just is able to sneak around and crawl in. Does he have to shapeshift into something his size? So he shapeshifts, into a noble boy that's just coming in. I don't know. I say we just go with him scouting. Why roll for it? Because I like the dice. We could have done that, but I like the dice and it went with us anyway. I like when it throws in a random wild thing, but I'm actively disagreeing. Get an aerial view. All right, a bird's cool, but I don't know. See, that's where I think we need to define this a little bit. So let's step into this for a second. I think it's 50%. Can he shapeshift into anything, which would mean everything from an elephant down to a bird, down to a mouse. What I like with shapeshifters is maybe he can do that, but maybe he has to stay in human form. So is it just 50-50? I know this could lead to a roll fest, but I want to make it a little harder than that. I think it's 25% that he could shapeshift into anything living, like a little mouse or like a falcon. So 25 or less, I'm rolling. 25 or less, 42. Can't just be anything. So then the question is it only human? I'm going to go unlikely, 35%, because maybe it has to do with size. Can he only do humans? 94. So 94, this is where I can't read anymore. I still can't read it. Jesus. I need my one that I wrote in. No. So, oh yeah, that's a heck yeah, or a heck no. So can he only do human? That is a no. So what that means to me to keep things moving is it's not just that he can only do human, but he has to do things that are his size, which is very interesting because he's appearing to us as a boy. So there's some kind of constriction in the realm that, he can only do something that is about 4'5", 4'6". He's stuck in the realm of his size. Okay, I like it. So his shape shifting could be a dog of about his size. There is no bird of his size, so he can't do that. He also can't change into a rat. It also means he can't turn into some giant big warrior either. He is stuck at the animal or human of the size he is. That's his restriction on his shapeshifting. I like that limiting parameter. With a shapeshifter, there's got to be something that is limiting. I don't want him to be able to do anything. All right, so he's going to go in and scout. What say you, group, knowing that the limit is this 4'6", so he could do the little boy, he could do a dog, a little monkey, no. An ape, yes. A snake that size, ooh. I will go with a 4'5" like anaconda. I mean, that's the limit we've put on it. That would be quite a big snake. So I don't know if that would be the best way to sneak in, but I'm saying it's doable. But you got to picture the snake now would be, that's a big ass snake. He could sneak past as a snake. I don't think the 4'6" inch snake sneaks. I don't think it sneaks, brother. I'm just telling you. That's a big snake. Yeah, and the anaconda would be slow. That's the problem. I don't think snakes work. I mean, they may somewhere else. A tree snake, right. But it's got to be about his size. 4'6" and thick. So that's what I'm saying. It can't just go down into a skinny little deal. It's not like he can be a mouse. He can't just be like a 4'6" mouse either. So it's a parameter. I think we could do a dog, but if they're worried about plague, I don't think a dog gets in. He's way bigger than an eagle, so that's not going to work. Ideas on how he could get in. I love the fact that he could shape shift into like a noble boy, some kind of little boy. or girl, I think would get him in. Oh, a pony or a donkey. Okay. I like it, but if you have a donkey or a pony just kind of clip clop up and they're going to take it in. I like the idea though. That's a good idea. Who in our party would look better with just a donkey coming up and look kind of passive? Ormond, do you think you could pull it off? I mean, Milo looks weak, but he looks so sickly they wouldn't let him through. He's so jacked up they'd think he's got plague. Milo's like sunken cheeks. He's been beat to hell. Maybe Batre could get in. I think he knows the town. So let's go with that. Batre leaves the cat. Yeah, you read my mind. Batre leaves the cat. There's no way he's getting a cat through there. And he's going to lead the pony. And then the boy's going to go in and just do his thing. Ormond with his robes would be odd. I'm with you. Batre is it. But here's the thing. That means Batre's got to learn that the boy can shapeshift. We didn't cover that. So I picture the boy, Graveworm, goes up and like whispers in Batre's ear. He's like, and I think Batre's like, you're kidding. And I think this is just them, like they're sectioned off. And he's like, we can a pony. And he's like, I'm still dealing with the fact that you could what? And he's like, it gets us into the place. It gets us in. He's like, yeah. All right. I think Battery's like, I got an idea. Milo, can you hold on to the kitty? Milo's like, no. And he kind of wets himself a little bit. And then I think the imp says, oh, I'll hold on to the cat. Because he's cloaked kind of like a little Jawa. And so the cougar is going to stay by the imp. I like it. And Batre says, I think Graveworm and I can get in. And I'm like, okay, that's good. And I think Batre moves away from camp. I think Graveworm tells him to avert his eyes. It can't be a pretty process. Not at all. Batre does so. And when he turns back, there's this little donkey. Let's go donkey. There's a donkey there. And Battery's like, Lord have mercy. And I think there's a ee-oh. This is nuts. All right. Battery approaches the guard. Battery's been here before. We know he knows the city. I think we still have to roll for it, but it's going to be way more successful. And I think they're loaded with some of the loot. I know Graveworm held on to a lot of that. So I think there's like a pack tied to this donkey. And there's probably some of that, we know there were daggers in there that we got from those, from the cultists. There were some other little things we have, and we're here to trade. I think this is very likely that we could get through with this. Batre's knowledgeable. He's been here before. He knows the military setup. He probably knows the battalion guard leader. And he's here to trade, one, showing some weapons. Nice. And he looks healthy and fit. And he's got a little donkey. Once they're in there, I think Graveworm can scout. Once we're inside, he can turn maybe into something else, like a rich noble boy or something. Who knows? I think it's a near sure thing, but that still only means 90% that we get through. So never fear. Roll percentile dice. 90 or less, we are through the gate with this subterfuge, with the donkey, or donkey, or with the donkey, as Tom Basil likes to say, and we are in. So waiting on Never Fear if he can give me a roll. If not, I will roll. We're coming up on the latter part of the show, so I think there'll be a little bit of scouting, and then 49. So yeah, we're in. So they're through the area, and within the town there is information in Knave that will help us learn other things about We already know it's militaristic, street detail. So as we move in, give me another, let me do this just to keep a rolling percentile. 92. 92 is torches. All right. So I would imagine that just tells me we're coming in closer to, well, it was evening. I would imagine we traveled for the better part of the day throughout the night. I think torches might mean that they're cleaning out suspected wretched areas, and they're torching clothing and linen, because if you're worried about the plague, you burn their stuff. That worked. They didn't know why it worked, but it worked. So we see as we come through that hysteria, that panic. I love it. And they're actually like, there's guards or military men cleaning out a brothel, and the women are fleeing and they're dragging out clothing and bedding and they're torching it. And this looks like it probably wasn't the cleanest place in the spot. There's a lot of plague or disease that would come out of a brothel. So it's being put to the torch. I'm not saying the building is, but they're dragging, bedding and clothing out into this open street, and they're burning it. That's what Batray and Graveworm, the pony, the donkey, are seeing. Yeah, Never Fear says, bring out your dead. Exactly. All right, so we know we're seeing that level of hysteria. Already we're learning something. We're learning that a lot of this hysteria is centered around kind of like what would be maybe, like those seedier businesses. So street details. We've already got that the torch is going on. There's a list for buildings. Never fear. Roll a percentile dice. Give me a number. We're going to have a building that we're going to see. Maybe this draws our attention, or maybe it's also in the process of being cleaned out. Maybe it's off in the distance. Maybe it's, a golden tower. Who knows? So we're going to take a percentile die roll. We're setting the stage for what will clearly be our next episode, as we're inside this big city. And there's hysteria, fear of the plague. Excuse me. 18 under buildings. A candle maker. Huh. Okay. So we see a candle maker, a building that a guy that would make candles. And I think it looks nice. And how about this? How about we go up there and we try to get some information from the candle maker? I like it. Battery approaches. That's going to allow me to pull out Une. We're going to see how this conversation goes with what's going on here. Ref, if you've got a 6-sided die or a randomizer, go ahead and give me a number from 1 to 6. It's not going to be loved. I don't know if we would be loved, but under table 6, our options will be 1 is friendly all the way to hated as a 6. Ref, if you're in, we'll give you a little bit more time. I could roll for it. Oh, no dice. All right. He's got no dice, which is totally fine. Let me get my 6-sider out. Hold the farm. Hold on. I got it right here. Whoop. Can I get her out? These are my clear rubies and my big fingers. Come on, big fingers. Here we go. Whoop. All right. What do we got? 3. All right. So a 3 on here. 1, 2, 3 is neutral. Now we roll percentiles. 85. Oh, just barely gets us into sociable. So neutral, but sociable. Now we got to get the bearing. There's a double roll here of 60, puts me on the left column, and 34 coming across the right here. So 34. What was my first number? I got so excited I forgot. Was it 60 even? Anybody remember? If not, I'm going to go with 60 even. If it comes up, sorry, I got ahead of myself. I rolled too quickly. But I've got support. So support and an overall friendly bearing at this candle maker as we approach. What is their focus? Like I need to hold focus. 30 even under focus. Hello. Skills. Okay. Skills. So I would imagine Batre knows this candle maker and he's purchased from him before. That makes sense. Batre would have connections and he's been to this town. So now verb noun. 37, and I will write these down so that I don't forget. 37 is agonize. Okay. And 43 under the noun. 43 is agonize what? Ooh, agonize love. Okay. Agonize love. Is the place landlocked or does it have a port? We'll ask. So, agonize love. That tells me that the candle maker that Batre knows has lost someone. And he's agonizing over it. He's sad. And he's explaining how the plague, especially being so close to this kind of seedy area, has affected the town, and that he himself has lost his wife. 50-50. Ooh, 97. Not only is it not, it's a heck no. So it's not his wife. He's lost a child. That would be even more devastating. He's lost a child. Okay. Got it. I do think our shapeshifter, the donkey, is going to kind of like amble around into an alley. And Grave Worm, having heard this, knows that this candle maker would probably be even partial to another sweet little child. He shifts in, but he doesn't look like this wild child here. That would look plague-like. I think he shapeshifts into a child that would look more innocent and clean. So I'm going to go with a child, a little girl. So now Grave Worm is a little girl with her hair tied back and clearly combed into a nice little, maybe braids. I don't know. Can you shapeshift into braids? Sure. She's got braids, so she looks well taken care of. She doesn't look plague-like. And I think she wanders around and said, "Oh, Batre, there you are." And I think Batre's like, "Lord have mercy." Batre's getting scared all the time. And I think the candle maker is like, "Oh, little lass, you know, where are you from?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm with Batre. And we came in, I just stabled the donkey." And Batre's like, "Lord have mercy, this is Grave Worm." But the candle maker, it works perfect. I think he's like, you know, I think he calls his wife out and she comes around, and, "Oh, little child." And Batre, "Where did you find this young girl?" Batre's like, "I helped her at a city," because he doesn't know. And she, Grave Worm, immediately says, "Batre's been wonderful. My parents were killed, and he's been shepherding me as we make our way toward Windridge, where I have family." And they're like, "Oh, sweet child, come in, sit near the fire." And I think Grave Worm, who we know is extremely good at like saying the right thing and doing recon, has immediately, I think it says, "Oh, Batre was going to find some food. We've been on the road and I'm so hungry." And immediately the matron of the candle maker is like, "No, child, I have stew." And Batre come in and they sit down and they get food. And this allows them, while they're eating, to receive the information for the city. And Batre would know this, but we don't know. Is the city alongside a water? Is it a coastal city? I think it's probably somewhat likely. 65% under a chaos factor of 5. We could probably even say that the city is crazy with this, but hold on. What do we got coming in? Something works out for once. Yeah. So far, so good. Grave Worm's awesome. I love Grave Worm. All right. 65 or less. This is a coastal city. 19. So not only is it, it's not a heck yeah, the 13 or less would have been, but it is a coastal, which means we should be able to catch a boat from here. It also means some of the concern, a lot of times plague would come in off of a boat. So maybe they're worried about people coming in, but I would imagine there's a control on the boats coming in as well. And I think the boat folk would be concerned about plague within the city. One reason you burn things out, you do not want to be the city with plague because no one will come by. Grave worm for the most valuable player. Boom. Yeah, he can turn into a little girl that's 4'5" or 6 with little braids. Looks cute. Clearly not plagued. Okay. And Batre has saved her, is shepherding her to Windridge. I like it. I think we will close our scene here. When we come back, we will have further intel. What's the status? Hey, I have friends. How can we get them through the gates? We'll have to resolve that and get them in and get on a ship that will take us to Windridge, which is nice. We do have money for passage. We do have things we can sell. The candle maker would be able to make those connections. We could obviously buy some candle type things, torches or whatever from the candle maker as well. Perfect. Ref, anything from you? Oh, look at this. Like I knew it. Glad I sat in on the chat. Yeah. Is there any wild little thing you want to throw in? Good session. I agree. Anything on this cliffhanger of getting, it's not much of a cliffhanger, but we're getting intel. Anything, Ref, you want to throw in, a little wildness, a little something, or never fear with your 16 months as a member, you want to throw in a little wild something. We still got to get the rest of the very odd party, who don't necessarily look like they're healthy, into the city. Things seem to be picking up. Okay. Well, you want to get to Windridge. I'm nervous about getting to Windridge. So nothing comes to mind. Perfect. We will call scene. Very well done. I love that we've just learned all this about Graveworm. I will create an image of this little blonde girl with braids. I'm thinking French braids coming back. Very well kept. And that she makes for one heck of a scout if she can do this. So anything of about a 4'6". I love it, including animals. So she could be a donkey. All right, Chief, bonding with board games and RPGs. We're doing it live, baby. It's ad hoc, and you get to see how the action rolls. We are out of here. I'm ending the stream in 5, 4, 3, 2.